let's take a look now at what we have covered so far. Before we introduced even one single word, we introduced the prerequisite skills. Then we began the readers. The first readers are called the pre-primers, and usually they are paperback books like these. We introduced the words with "What's the clue?" Meanwhile, we introduced the sight families as they were needed, and we introduced those words with "What's the family?" When we completed all of the pre-primers, we introduced the blends. Now, the next book is called the primer, and it looks like this, and usually it is the first hardcover book. Now, when you get to the primer, we're going to introduce the next set of families. We will introduce the short vowel families. There's nothing new to learn because these families can be sounded out. The students already know their short vowel sounds, and they already know their consonant sounds. All they need is practice in blending these sounds together. We will develop this skill with the exercises at the end of this chapter. Let's try one of those exercises now. Give each of your students a copy of the exercise and proceed as follows. Repeat after me. Apple.
Apple.
Now, you know that A has the sound A and T is T, so if you sound it out, it's at. Now, add a C, what's the word?
Cat.
Add a B, what's the word?
Bat.
Add an H, what's the word?
Hat.
Now, would you read that back from the top? It says?
At, cat, bat, hat.
Very good. Now, can you sound out this next family?
An.
Right, now blend it. An. Add an R, what's the word?
Ran.
Add an M, what's the word?
Man.
Add TH, what's the word?
Van.
Read that back from the top.
An, ran, man, van.
Would you sound out the next family?
App.
Add an M, what's the word?
Map.
Add FL, what's the word?
Flap.
Add STR, what's the word?
Strap.
Would you read that back from the top?
App, map, flap, strap.
Right. Now, for easy reproducing, these exercises and all the exercises that are in this video are contained in Super Seat Work linguistic exercises. For example, this is the one we've just completed. We're going to review just the headings of all these families so you will have a perspective on what is covered here. Now, if you will read along with Noreen, this will give you a good review of these families. And this is?
At, an, add.
Good.
It, in, if.
Turn the page.
Ot, op, og. Ut, un, ug.
Now see, you, ug. Ug. You, umbrella. Very good.
Add, ag, ab. Egg, end, l.
Very good.
Id, ig, ib.
Good.
Odd, ob, os. Ub, ud, up. Uff, uz, utch.
Good.
At, et, it, ot, ut.
Very good.
Ack, ek, ick, ock, uck.
Very good.
Ast, est, ist, ost, ust.
Very good.
And, ent, ond, ash, ish, ush.
Now, what sound is you? You,
Yush.
Now, watch this. You,
Ush.
Umbrella, ush.
Ush.
Okay. As you can see, these exercises cover hundreds and hundreds of words, especially because each time you do the exercise, you can make different words. You do not have to complete all of these exercises before utilizing these families to decipher words, because they can simply be sounded out as they are encountered within words. They do not have to be filtered in and introduced individually as we did with the sight families. When you feel that your students can sound out these families with ease, then introduce any word that contains one of these families as follows. You're going to tell the student what letters to underline. Then you will ask, what's the family, what's the word? All right, underline E-T. What's the family?
Et.
What's the word?
Pet.
Underline I-C-K. What's the family?
Ick.
What's the word?
Quick.
Underline O-T. What's the family?
Ot.
What's the word?
Got.
Underline A-N. What's the family?
An.
What's the word?
Van.
Underline U-N-C-H. What's the family?
Unch.
What's the word?
Lunch.
Underline ELL. What's the family?
L.
What's the word?
Tell.
Underline OCK. What's the family?
Ock.
What's the word?
Clock.
Underline IP. What's the family?
Ip.
What's the word?
Trip.
Underline UT. What's the family?
Ut.
What's the word?
Shut.
Underline ASH. What's the family?
Ash.
What's the word?
Splash.
Right. When you have two syllables, treat each syllable as you would a separate word. Underline AB. What's the family?
Ab.
Add R.
Rab.
Underline IT. What's the family?
It.
Add B.
Bit.
What's the word?
Rabbit.
Very good. Underline IL. What's the family?
Ill.
Add CH.
Chill.
Underline EN. What's the family?
N.
Add DR.
Dren.
What's the word?
Children.
Underline UN. What's the family?
Un.
Underline IL. What's the family?
Ill.
Add T.
Till.
What's the word?
Until.
Good. Underline AF. What's the family?
Af.
Underline ER. What's the family? Add T.
Ter.
What's the word?
After.
Underline UCK. What's the family?
Uck.
Add D.
Duck.
Underline ING. What's the family?
Ing.
Add L.
Ling.
What's the word?
Duckling.
Underline AP. What's the family?
App.
Add H.
Hap.
Underline EN. What's the family?
N.
Add P.
Pen.
What's the word?
Happen.
Right. Now, when you have more than two syllables, be sure to have the student go back each time and sound through the word as follows. Underline IN. What's the family?
In.
Underline EN. What's the family?
N.
Add T.
10.
Go back.
In 10.
Good. Underline TION. What's that sight family?
Shun.
What's the word?
Intention.
Very good. Underline AN. What's the family?
An.
Add F.
Fan.
Underline AS. What's the family?
Ass.
Add T.
Task.
Go back.
Fantas.
Underline IC. What's the family?
Ick.
Add T.
Tick.
What's the word?
Fantastic.
Very good. These words are called keep going words, and they're handled this way. Underline AP. What's the family?
App.
Add H.
Hap.
Right. Now, when you say keep going, that means they will keep sounding. And if they don't know what you mean, you explain that P has the sound P, Y in the end says E, so the word is?
Happy.
Very good. Let's try another one. Underline AR. What's that sight family?
R.
Add P.
Par.
Keep going.
Party.
Very good. You're going to continue to introduce all other words with what's the clue. You will introduce these words this way until you get halfway through the primer. All right? In other words, you're going to introduce words in two ways only. You will either say, what's the clue, or what's the family. Now, what does what's the clue mean? Does that mean that you point to the word and say, what's the clue? No, it means that you give an oral sentence that ends with the word, but you leave the word out. The students decipher the word by the context of your sentence and by the phonic clues that they see. After they say the word, after they already know the word, then you say, what's the clue? Then they will sound and underline simultaneously the clues from left to right. For example, please give my swing a...
Push.
What's the clue? Push. Right. Now, when will you say, oh, first of all, what's the family? What does what's the family mean? Does that mean that you point to the word and say, what's the family? No, it means that you tell them what letters to underline. Then you say, what's the family? What's the word? Now, when will you say, what's the family? If it's a word that has a sight family, or if it's a word that has a short vowel family. Underline IGH. What's the family?
I.
What's the word?
Hi.
Underline OND. What's the family?
On.
What's the word?
Con.
Very good. At this point, are your students able to read any phonic reading program that begins with short vowels? For example, would they be able to read a book like this? Cal and Sal had a pal. Or Matt a cat sat on a hat. Right, would they be able to read this? Right, therefore you'll get two birds with one stone. This brings us to reinforcement. Several suggestions are given here for reinforcement. Super Seat Work Phonic Grab Bag has 5 word wheels that are very helpful. For example, we have Babbling Bozo, We have rhyming robot. We have chatty catty, puzzling pumpkin, and rock talk. Just to give you an idea how these look when these are completed, this is babbling bozo. When you spin this, the words change. Rhyming robot, when you spin this, the words change. And this is chatty catty, and when you spin the tail, the words will change. You will find that these activities help to strengthen these families.
It's time again to have a practice list for you teachers in the video audience to check your technique. Each teacher will introduce a word in turn while the other teachers respond as your class. If you wish to test your technique before the words are introduced on tape, stop the tape now. If you wish to listen to the tape first, then stop the tape and check your technique. We will now introduce the words.
My work is almost all.
Done.
What's the clue?
Done.
Underline E-L-L. What's the family?
L.
What's the word?
Tell.
Underline A-N. What's the family?
An.
What's the word?
Han.
This boy is my best.
Friend.
What's the clue?
Fur. D.
Good. Underline U-T. What's the family?
Ut.
What's the word?
Shut.
Underline O-W. What's the sight family?
Ow.
What's the word?
Cow.
Underline E-N. What's the family?
N.
What's the word?
Hen.
Underline I-L-L. What's the family?
Ill.
What's the word?
Will.
Underline A-P. What's the family?
App.
Add H.
Hap.
Keep going.
P.
Now, see, when I say keep going, you go happy, the whole
Okay.
word. Let's try that again now. What's the family?
App.
Add H.
Hap.
Keep going.
Happy.
Right, okay. This word is give, as in I'm going to give you a pencil. What's the clue?
Give.
Right, now that's right, except that G's G. So you go G-I-V. Right, okay. Underline A-T. What's the family?
At.
What's the word?
Hat.
Underline I-L. What's the family?
Ill.
Add C-H.
Chill.
Underline E-N. What's the family?
N.
Add D-R.
Dren.
What's the word?
Children.
Very good. Underline I-S-H. What's the family?
Ish.
What's the word?
Fish.
Right. Now, when you have a word like this, remember that we're going to always introduce the root word first. So you would first introduce the word pig, and then you would introduce this word. Underline I-G. What's the family?
Ig.
What's the word?
Pig.
And if you add S, the word is?
Pigs.
Very good. Okay. When you get to the middle of the primer, it's the middle of this book, we're going to introduce the next set of families.